We're gonna do a dry manicure today, and we're also gonna incorporate the Boss Lady scissors. I actually prefer working with scissors versus nippers, and I'm gonna explain why. I'm also gonna show you at the end how to maintain your scissors so they keep that nice little buoyancy. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, as we are jumping in, take a look at my model's nails. This is what we see on a regular basis. She's well hydrated, the skin's not cracked, and we're just taking the cuticle pusher and releasing the cuticle up and off the nail plate, so this helps prevent over-filing. Okay, so this right here, what I often see is people pushing really hard. We're gonna let the bits do the work for us, okay? We don't wanna create any discomfort and accidentally slip. So we're gonna let the E-file groom that. She has a more flat nail plate, so we're just gonna go ahead and bust out the unicorn bit. I'm gonna start at about 9,000 RPMs and just see how the exfoliation looks. I can always increase it, but for right now, my first pass, I am going to keep the bit parallel, flat to the nail plate, and I'm just sweeping. You don't wanna use that tip up at an angle. This bit does not fit in between the lateral fold. Be very aware. We do not want to cause any damage to that lateral fold. It's extremely important to keep that lateral fold. And the reason for that is because it's a track for the nail to grow out. If we distort that, then the nail doesn't know how to grow. And that's when we can cause some damage to the nail plate, okay? So I'm just going flat, pushing just very gentle, that rounded unicorn top right into the proximal fold, but very gentle. I'm gonna ask my model, how's this feeling?
Great.
Yeah, it's nothing to be scared of. That's what's awesome about dry manicuring, is that there is so many degrees that you can take it. You don't have to use abrasive tools. It's very gentle, anywhere from a natural service to just an everyday mommy hand makeover. Beautiful. Okay. Now that I'm working on the last finger, I've been working in the forward direction. I am going to do what? That's right, flip it to reverse. You guys have heard me say this before. I'm gonna go back, but you know what, there's a lot of dust. I am not a fan of blind filing, so I'm just gonna remove that dust, and you're already gonna see how the side of the nail is way more open than the right side. Okay, so it is very important to utilize your forward in reverse. When you are e-file shopping, I would definitely say you have to have an e-file that does both. And the reason for that is we want to utilize the different directions. Okay, so right now my client, she's trying to be the boss. So I'm just going to make sure she knows what's up, train her, so we'll only have to go through this once. All right, I'm keeping my shoulders parallel. Very good. Look at that. Told you just had to train her once. All right. Just like that. We're exfoliating, pushing parallel. We're no flossing. So let's dive in on the next finger and talk a little more about what is this flossing that I'm recurring to. I'm going to turn off my e-file. So flossing. Think of it like how you floss your teeth. You're getting in between there. We don't want to do that on the lateral fold. This is what I mean by flossing. We don't want to do that. Look, the bit does not fit. If I am dragging this through, what's going to happen to that nail groove? It's going to overfile the natural nail. And doing so, when she gets a little more growth to it, her nails are going to start to snap off, right? That's usually not what our clients want. Or we end up distorting this groove. So what I recommend is turning your client's hand, filing those dead skin cells, right? Because we know we need to remove the dead skin cells so that we can apply our product. And then when we flip it back over, staying on the skin, right? That. You can also hear a difference. And my favorite back roll tuck, where I'm able to open up more of that nail plate. Nobody comes in and wants little stubby fingernails. I'm pulling that skin back. Be very gentle. Right here are tear zones. So if I take my bit with the point and pull, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna tear the skin. So try to maximize the barrel and work like this, okay? Work like this. I'm in reverse, so my bit wants to pull away from the nail plate. So I'm just gonna put it right on the edge and pull. I'm just gonna smooth out that skin. There's a little bit of crusties right there. Pulling back the fingertip. Boom. Looks beautiful. All right, on to the next finger. So we want to make sure we're methodical. I would do all 10 fingers, right? Flip my client's finger. So depending on how long your service is how much cuticle time you do, right? Just because somebody is extra crunchy, does that mean we spend more time? Not necessarily. Time is money, okay? So if somebody wants to come in for like their once every 2 months, we're not going to spend more time doing cuticle work. Make sure you have your allotted amount of time that you want to do on cuticle work and stick to it unless they're paying for it, right? When it comes to dry manicuring, I get asked that a lot, is what should I be charging for this? And that's kind of really loaded because it depends on your service time. It also depends on your experience.
Hey nail techs, level up your manicures with professional nail bits and implements from Erica's ATA. We have everything you need from tools to gels. Check out the links below.
I think one of the things that I have noticed in society in general is there's just so many choices, and I'm a strong believer in that this is the way nails should be done. Moving forward, we need to eliminate water altogether, right? So with that being said, I think it should be built into your cost for every manicure. Trying to give people this, do you want to wet? Do you want to dry? Do you want me to cut? Do you want me to exfoliate? That's just another decision. That's just like mental drainage and decision fatigue. Make the decision for them and make it with confidence. This is how I do it. If you don't like it, go next door. Be you, be proud, do it. This is what I was referring to as flossing. This is what we don't want to do. We're overfiling both the nail plate and the skin. If you do want to floss, we do have a bit for that. It is called the detail bit. Why? Because we're doing some detail work. Let me go ahead and show this to you. Look, does this fit? No. Does this fit? Yes. Okay. Since this fits, you can see that it has a very pointy top. I do not recommend using this up by the eponychium and proximal fold. I also do not recommend working this bit in this type of direction. If your client is telling you a juicy story and they're like, oh my gosh, and you're with this, you are going to pierce their cuticle, and cuticle piercing is not in at this time. Okay, so how do I use this bit that I am cool with flossing? This is the detail bit. I'm running at 12 to 15,000 RPMs. I am actually in reverse, so the bit wants to spin to the right side, and I am pulling that debris out and rolling it back. So one of the big tips here, if we're on the left side, we want to be in forward, and if we're on the right side, we want to be in reverse. So right here, we're doing some cleanup. I'm always pulling down towards me, never up towards my client, and I'm also leaning more into her skin, not the nail plate. So if we have a pass where we have to do multiples, or we see some skin and we're like wanting to take the tip and just tickle it out, don't do that. You create this like Swiss cheese look. Turn up your RPMs, okay? Anywhere between maybe 15, maybe 18, and just in that one little spot, just grab it. But you don't want to spend a lot of time flirting there, because what will happen, you can even see it real close, is we've exfoliated it more in that one spot and it doesn't create that really uniform look. So once you grab that piece of debris, reduce your RPMs and try to always roll, maximizing as much of that barrel as possible. Okay? Perfect. We are not going to do enhancements today. And the reason for that is if I did all this cuticle work and then put an enhancement on, what would I do for shaping? Would I take my hand file and then go back and forth all over this cuticle? I would totally wreck it. So keep that in mind. Usually when nail technicians are doing this type of detailed work is they're doing it for a gel polish application. So keep that in mind. Don't try to do all this extra cuticle work and then apply enhancement and use some kind of buffing block. You're gonna buff out all that beautiful cuticle work, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, so look, they look, man, let's just do a little quick comparison. Let's throw that other hand that we haven't done yet right up there. Mama looking good. Look at that. So we definitely have some more work here, and we want to get a little farther back. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the nib, but look how much we've opened it up compared to her other ones, right? Very gentle. So the nails are looking great, but if you want to do some additional work, let's go ahead and use the nib. So how did the nib get the name the nib? Well, look at the shape. Did you know the tip of a ballpoint pen is called a nib? I didn't know that. Thank you, Wikipedia. So that's how I got the name, because I thought it looked like the tip of a pen. With that is using anything that is a football shape is we have to change our angles, okay? So even though this is really small, I'm using the tip of the barrel and just gently, ever so gently angling it. So I'm doing multiple passes on the nail plate. I'm feeling for resistance, and when I feel that resistance, I'm just tickling it out. So what does this do? This allows me to get underneath the proximal fold and just to clean up any of that extra cuticle, right? So we can tuck the polish. Nowadays, clients are not looking for the Tammy Taylor, you're a legend. But we don't want to see a gap. We really want to see the nail growing out. What's your favorite color? Blue, like a sky blue? Our model wants to see a blue nail growing out. She doesn't want to see a gap, right? So how do we do that? We have to open up this little pocket very gently, okay? Very gently. I'm running at low RPMs, and I'm just very, very easily going through the nail ever so. I'm leaning into this lateral fold where I am not hitting the nail and just opening it up to create a more uniform look. All right, beautiful. Look at that. Look how much more floppy she is, which is great because it's going to make for a beautiful cut when we use our scissors. Yes, I am going to stay tuned. Yes, stay tuned to the end because I am going to show you how to use cuticle scissors. It's actually something I prefer versus using nippers because I feel like I have more control. Nib is one of our most popular bits. I would say it's just another option for when you want to do deep cleanup, whether you like a smaller tool or like the flame. Some people like that more roundedness. Now, the nib also comes only in medium, so it is going to be a little more aggressive than what our Russian flame or our large flame, but it really just comes down to your angles and what you prefer to work with as a nail artist. If you do notice that there's any grooves in the nail plate, I would recommend doing less passes, reducing your pressure, or switching over to the Russian flame, where it's going to be more fine. Just like we were using the unicorn, cleaning out both the left, the right, I think is very important. Again, we're seeing a lot of this detailed dry manicure in gel polish application services. I would do very basic for an enhancement service because we don't want to buff it out. All right, now that we've done that, let me show you how floppy she is. Could that be a shirt? My nail tech likes me to flop. She wants to see me floppy. I don't know. Maybe that's not funny.
I think it's kind of funny.
You think it's kind of funny?
I do.
Thank you. I like you.
The nail lingo is brand new to me.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the fun part. I am now going to use scissors. Did you know your scissors and nippers need maintenance? Anything that has a hinge has to be lubricated. Make sure you grab yourself some Glide oil so that you keep that buoyancy in your equipment. Now let's jump into how we use our scissors. I'm gonna take my scissors now, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make sure that edge, that sharp end, comes to a point. It is very important that whenever you're working with your nippers, they are always put down on the desk with the tip up. Protect it, because once that gets a little bent, you're no longer going to be able to use it. I'm going to pull my client's skin back, and the hardest part is just getting right underneath that edge and starting your first cut. Right there. I'm going to be a little tender in this area as I already see that there is a skin tag just where the skin has been torn. She came in like that, and now what I'm doing is I'm taking the back of the blade, pushing it into the proximal fold very gently, just so I'm like kind of using it as a guide, and I'm using just the tip. Don't use the whole blade. You're using very controlled cuts. You're trying to keep, this is actually called a sausage. That's what they call it in Eastern Europe. You want to keep the sausage attached as much as possible. We just lost it, so we're going to pick it back up. And that's okay. Make sure one of the most important things is moving your elbows. Don't try to do this all in your wrist. You can't get the range of the motion. So check out my elbow. It was up and going around. Lift up your arm so you can make that curve, okay? What I like about using scissors versus nippers is I feel like I have way more control. Also with scissors, if you keep them well lubricated, I don't need to pull. I see a lot of aggressive pulling with nipping, and I think that is definitely contributing to lots of hangnails because we're cutting the live tissue, but then we're pulling with nippers and it's tearing. So using scissors, there's no pulling. I'm literally just using little baby cuts. Do not use your cuticle scissors for cutting forms or cutting off a little stray hair on your nail art brush. They 100% are for cuticles only. This is one of the tools that you have to absolutely baby. And if you don't, it's not going to perform the right way. So just care with it very gently, and it's going to set you up for success. So again, hardest part is getting right under here under the skin. Just do a little cut. I am only cutting what is like milky and transparent dead, right? Like if I was cutting something that was live tissue, what would happen? If it was alive, it would be vascular. If it's vascular, that means there's blood flow. If there's blood flow and I cut it, it's gonna hurt. And you know what else? Your nail plate doesn't have lungs. Imagine that. Look at those little baby lungs. No, you can't see them because it doesn't have them. It doesn't breathe. I'm not breathing doing this. Little snippets. I am a big believer that less is more. That we don't need to cut too much off. If you're looking for that perfect Instagram look, you should really do some research on editorial nails versus salon nails. There is a place for it all. As long as we're staying within our scope, that one right here doesn't need to be cut. So guess what? I move on. I'm not going to cut something that doesn't need to be cut, okay? There needs to be some discernment. We want to set our clients up for success. At least I do. We just finished up using our scissors. So now I believe there's two options. We can go in with the refining ball to smooth that edge if we were to use nippers, or wait till the very end of our service once we've applied the enhancement or the gel polish and use the polisher. Either one is going to work, but the reason for this is we want to use oil. We want to soften the skin at higher RPMs. Okay, so here we are. Well, yeah, that's exactly what we want to see. And we're just giving like this little micro massage. So even where I use my cuticle nippers, I'm pulling the skin up and just nicely softening that ledge so it grows out. It's beautiful. If I see a little bit of skin, I just put a little bit of pressure. I make sure to move the bit all over, including that fingertip. And then this is usually when I don't tongue lash, but I do talk to my clients about the importance of hand moisturizing as well as using cuticle oil. If they use cuticle oil, they are going to see great results as well as make it less work for you. So we don't have to shame them, but we can encourage them to take care of their hands the way they take care of other parts of their body, like washing your face. Exfoliation is a wonderful thing. You can see it even with the oil. The nails just look the skin just looks super healthy and hydrated. I love this. Or another reason that I absolutely love using the polisher is, after 3 days, after getting a manicure 3 days later, if a lot of times we start to see the skin rolling back, okay? We call those hangnails. Pretty sure they're just skin tags, but really what it is, it's torn skin. From that pulling with the nippers, yeah, that skin is now frayed and pulling back. If we smooth it, guys, you will see a difference. I even call it like the one hand challenge. Do your traditional soaking with your client on one hand and then do it dry on the other. They will absolutely see a difference and want to know why is that. And what you're going to tell them is because you softened the raw edge. It's really that easy. Hey guys, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my client's other hand. If you liked what you saw today, go ahead and like and subscribe.